a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track.
Hello everyone. So for those who might have already guessed from the intro, we're gonna talk about the country of the Peaky Blinders, which is England. So England is a country of the United Kingdom, and my team and I decided to talk of the culture of England, but in our way, because each one of us gathered their hobbies, their center of interests, and extracted them from the British culture. We hope you'll enjoy our work. So, as you can see from my background, I'm gonna talk to you about the literature in England. So, when we're speaking in English, we're speaking in the language of William Shakespeare. So, he is a very known author. I guess all of you have already know who is William Shakespeare, and he was born in the 16th century in England, obviously, and he was known to match various tastes of a diverse audience. How is that? So, his works were very complex, as they were containing simple plots and at the same time subtle nuances. So if you're standing and watching a work of William Shakespeare, you're very likely to have a different perspective from the person sitting right next to you. So his works were at the same time admired by normal people, by people from the aristocracy, and even the king's court. So William Shakespeare had very known works, such as Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet, and he was known to use his very own words. So he for instance, created the word gossip or the word lonely, and we are using more than 3,000 words created by William Shakespeare. His plays are even played today, so more than 200 years after he died, and his works have been translated in more than 4,000 languages right after Agatha Christie, which is also a British author, and Jules Verne. So speaking of Agatha Christie, when we hear her name, we think of thrillers, and England was known to have the best detective stories. So if I tell you 221 B. Baker Street, Dr. Watson, or even unexpected plot twists, you will surely think of the one and only Sherlock Holmes. So this fictional detective was actually imagined by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who is a British author, and I'm talking about Sherlock Holmes, received a Guinness World Record to be the most portrayed movie character in history. So there are even people who actually believe that Sherlock Holmes is a real person, and he was known to master very many fields such as science, anatomy, politics, astronomy, philosophy, law, geology, and even literature. So Sherlock Holmes actually inspired many people that they actually started to send him letters to his address, which is the 221 B. Baker Street in London, and a science was even created for the sake of this fictional character, which is the Holmesology. This is crazy. And because I'm keeping the best for last, it's time to talk about the greatest author of all times, which happened to be a British lady. So, if I say words like Slytherin, Muggle, Minister of Magic, Hogwarts, I'm clearly talking about J.K. Rowling, aka the author of Harry Potter. So, Harry Potter book, or if I may say, the masterpiece of Harry Potter, was written by this woman at only her 30s, and it gained popularity to become the most sold book in history, with more than 450 million books sold in more than 75 languages. And just for your information, the Harry Potter world is now worth more than $25 billion, which is amazing. So we can say that the genius J.K. Rowling created this imaginary world that is different from ours, but she was wise enough to anchor in her world some real life issues. I myself am a part of the Harry Potter fandom, and I belong to the Slytherin family. She once said that Harry Potter is the most successful businessman in the UK, which I totally agree with. And not only in the UK, because eBay in 2017 recorded purchases that were related to Harry Potter reached £2.5 million. And I can even say that there is a museum only for Harry Potter in London. There is a real-life Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Orlando, which recreated all the Hogwarts in its full shape. So I can say for last that England not only has the best authors, but it has geniuses of literature.
British culture and social norms are very unique. One of the most important things to know before going to any country is what their cultural and social norms are. As an international student from another country, you may be clueless. Sure, you may have learned some facts about England from TV shows and the internet. You may have been visited the country before, but that's a different experience than living in the country. No matter where you are in England, here are some of the social norms that you will learn from British people. The British are punctual. Being late is odd and, in some cases, considered to be rude. If you are going to be late to something, contact those involved as soon as you know you will be late. Also, it is less rude to be late to a dinner party at someone's home than it is to be late to a public meeting, such as dinner at a restaurant. Never jump lines, known as queue in England. In some countries, jumping the queue may be acceptable, but in England, people may not be very happy with you and will definitely let you know how unhappy they are about the situation. Standing patiently in the queue is a normal part of British culture. In England, it's acceptable to keep one arm's length between yourself and those you are speaking with. Any closer is assumed to be aggressive and can be uncomfortable for those native to England. Please, thank you, and sorry are normal parts of everyday conversation and interaction. Some people are simply baffled by how polite British people are. As an international student, you may not be used to this, but you will probably get used to it quickly after your arrival. When greeting a good friend or family member in England, you do not simply shake their hand. Many times, especially if one of the people that you are greeting or being greeted is female, you will frequently give and or receive a small kiss on the cheek. If you are not a close friend or family member, then the physical touch is perceived as odd or uncomfortable. You may shake hands, but often a smile and a bow of the head is acceptable enough. The British have a high amount of respect for older adults and the disabled. If you are on public transportation, you are expected to give up your seat if someone who is disabled or older comes onto the tram or whatever vehicle you are in and there is no other seat. If an older adult or someone who is disabled seems to be struggling with something, you are also expected to ask the person if they need your assistance. And British people rarely use superlatives and are not very animated when they speak. They value privacy over everything else, so be careful what you ask because you could be praying without meaning to. British people often avoid extended eye contact. They find it uncomfortable and intimidating. If you are invited to the home of a native British person, it is normal to bring along a gift, such as chocolate, wine, or flowers to say thank you. If you go to a pub with your friend, it is common practice to buy a round of drinks for those who you come with. The person who has invited you to a dinner is typically the one who pays. Do not argue about whose responsibility it is, rather invite them out to reciprocate. These little cultural differences will be a regular part of adapting to life in England, so it's important to learn them before you even arrive. You want to make sure that you don't offend anyone as you're getting used to life in England. If you don't do these things naturally, the British will definitely know that you are from out of town. This knowledge will help you get better adjusted to British norms before you start enjoying the rest of student life while attending the university in England. Thank you.
In words of wisdom, let it be. Hello everyone. If you ask me about the most thing I love in this world, I would say music. That's why today's topic is about music in England. So let's start talking about history and then goes to the most brilliant bands and musicians. Okay, England has produced some of the world's best music throughout history. In fact, as a country, England has spearheaded some of the world's most significant musical movements and trends. Since its earliest days in England, music has been particularly diverse and culturally relevant. It was made up of religious music, folk music, classical music, and many other styles. Folk music was the music of the people and was therefore distinctive to England. Today, there continue to be folk artists who combine a traditional style of storytelling with more modern media such as electronic equipment. Then, during the 1930s, American jazz music infiltrated the English market. This forced the creation of local bands and musicians who explored and experimented with their genres, styles, and audiences. By 1962, the Beatles revealed an entirely new perspective on musical entertainment, and this year, this 60s band was the most popular of its time, luring young and old to their performances and hitting global charts over and over again. Their songs were catchy, displayed excellent musical abilities, and sometimes broke up the bonds of conservatism. Indeed, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr revolutionized English and international music forever. Also, I'd like to mention that the famous Pink Floyd were an English rock band formed in London. Since then, many musical giants have come from the talented country. These include the Rolling Stones, Queen, Elton John, George Michael, Blur, Robbie Williams, Oasis, Radiohead, and Muse. So, Music England still exists until now and will develop more and more. I wish my little presentation was rich of information for you, and thank you for listening.
England is located in the northwestern Europe and is home to a very diverse range of sports. The large geography has led to the development of football and rugby as national pastimes, while other sports are slowly gaining a footing. Here are the top 5 sports in England. Let's start with football. Football is the most popular game played in England and follows a traditional league system which consists of more than 100 teams. The most popular league is known as the Premier League and consists of the 20 best teams football all over England. The most popular of these teams are Manchester City and Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Football in England is governed by the Football Association, which is one of the oldest governing bodies in the entire world. The two most famous football championships in England are the FA Cup and the Capital One Cup. There are 92 professional football clubs that participate in each of these tournaments each year. Cricket. Cricket is the national sport of England and became popular in the 17th century. Today, there are 18 professional county clubs in England, with all of them being named after historic counties. Each summer, these county clubs participate in the first-class county championship, which consists of 2 leagues of 9 teams in which matches are played over 4 days. Rugby. Rugby is one of the most popular professional and recreational team sports in England, and is divided to the Rugby Union and the Rugby League. The two sports are different in rules, such as the number of players and in ways to advance the ball. As the governing body of Rugby League in England, based at Red Hall in Leeds. It administers the England Rugby League teams, the Challenge Cup, Super League, and the Rugby Football League Act. The Rugby Football Union continues to be the governing body of Rugby Union in England. This organization promotes and runs the sports, organizes international matches for England, and educates and train players and officials. The championships, which form the professional and semi-professional structure of the game in England. Badminton. Badminton is the most popular racket sport in England history and continues to grow in popularity. The Badminton Association of England was established in 1893 and is now known as the Badminton England. It's the governor of badminton in England and is also a founding member of the International Badminton Federation. The International Badminton Federation is responsible for providing support to 41 countries in legal structure and club structure. Tennis. Tennis is growing not only as a participant sport but also as a spectator sport. Wimbledon is the most popular tennis tournament in England and has been played in England since 1877. Wimbledon is one of the 4 Grand Slam events on the ATP Tour, which also includes the Australian Open, US Open and French Open. England has many public facilities throughout which offer tennis at little to no cost for the general public.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour. Donc c'est Firdaus Badoud. Ma partie va être réservée pour la gastronomie en Angleterre. L'Angleterre n'est pas reconnue pour sa gastronomie. Ceci ne veut pas dire que ces plats ne sont pas reconnus mondialement. En effet, plusieurs spécialités locales sont reconnues pour être succulentes, comme le fish and chips, un incontournable. Donc ce poisson recouvert d'une couche épaisse de pâte avant d'être plongé dans de l'huile bouillante et servi avec des frites vinaigrées. Ce plat date du 19e siècle. Il y a aussi le toad in the wall, un plat composé de saucisses enrobées dans une pâte unique semblable à un Yorkshire pudding et cuite au four. On ne peut pas ne pas citer le chutney, qui est un accompagnement traditionnel pour les plats de viande ou de poisson froid.
Bizarrement, on trouve chicken tikka masala, qui est à la base un plat indien. Mais à cause de la grande vague d'immigration hindoue, est devenu un plat ancré dans la culture anglaise. Et pour finir, le dessert le plus consommé en Angleterre est la gelée, qui est à la base c'est un jus de fruits dans lequel la gélatine a été ajoutée pour que la consistance ressemble à un flan.
Bonjour, ma partie va concerner la beauté en Angleterre. The term cosmetic products refers to any substance or preparation intended to be put in contact with the various superficial parts of the human body and or with the mouth, teeth, mucus, include to manually to clean, perfume, modify the appearance, protect, maintain in good condition, or correct the body odor. The cosmetic industry therefore includes several categories of products: makeup, perfume, skincare, personal hygiene, hair care, oral products, shaving products. That's all. The main manufacturers in the UK markets are Procter & Gamble Product Supply Ltd, market leader, Unilever, PSC, Avon Cosmétique, Coty, Chanel, Estée Lauder Cosmétique Ltd, L'Oréal, LVMH Group. La cosmétique britannique connaît un succès sans précédent et séduit de plus en plus de Françaises. Et voici 7 bonnes raisons pour s'y mettre. Premièrement, elle a inventé la Clean Beauty Reine. Skincare a été la première marque à parler de beauté durable et responsable dès l'an 2000 et n'a jamais changé de cap depuis. Pas de bio, donc, mais de soins naturels pour se débarrasser des usual suspects, parabènes, silicone, PEG, etc., pour assurer la juste compromis entre sécurité, naturalité et efficacité. Les Anglaises ont une approche décomplexée de la beauté clean. Et ils aiment les petits distributeurs. L'Angleterre a été le premier pays à se démarquer des chaînes de parfumerie avec le concept de store de niche Space Income, spécialiste des petites marques pointues que l'on appelle là-bas les indie brands. Deuxièmement, il défend les approches de niche. Chaque marque s'appuie sur un véritable concept qui répond à des besoins ciblés. En Angleterre, les marques osent des domaines ultra niches, comme le soin des tatouages ou la cosmétique qui traite le délicat problème de la kératose pilaire. Puis, les Anglaises sont de super cobayes. Les Anglaises sont de véritables beauty addicts, toujours à l'affût de la dernière pépite, accro aux réseaux sociaux. L'Anglaise n'hésite pas à acheter en ligne toute nouveauté qui l'intéresse juste pour essayer. Leurs créatrices sont charismatiques. La créativité anglaise se met en saveur particulière. Il n'y a plus besoin qu'à observer le style des designers de mode locaux tels que Eastwood, Alexander ou John Galliano. Les défilés de Londres sont uniques avec des créateurs plus radicaux, moins consensuels et n'a pas le look de l'emploi. Dans le reste du monde, quand un produit est destiné à la pharmacie, ils affichent un design sobre aux codes médicaux. S'il est green, il y a du vert, du dessin, de fleurs sur la boîte, luxueux, il est tout en doré. En Angleterre, on peut oser le décalage et avoir une marque très technique comme Lexer Skin qui utilise un rose girly car chaque créateur applique sa vision à son packaging. Et puis finalement, l'idée reçue, les Anglaises ne savent pas bronzer. Avec une population de 10% rose et beaucoup de blancs, d'à peau diaphane, dont la peau brûle plus qu'ils ne bronzent, pas étonnant que les Britanniques ne soient pas les spécialistes du foral.
Finalement, je tiens à remercier énormément le centre de Beauty Park de Fès et ainsi Madame Latifa pour sa générosité et sa compréhension.